This is Trevor Sternad from the Black Dahlia Murder here, and you're listening to the Everblack Podcast.
Hey, humans, Skull, this is Odorous from Guam.
I'm going to the Fear Factory.
This is George Corps Under Fisher.
This is Gas from Double Drop.
This is Wade from Our Last Enemy.
Mike Nick from Suicidal Tendencies.
Hey, this is Wednesday 13.
This is
Rex from Kill Devil Hill.
This is Gary Lee from Sepultura. You're listening to Everblack Podcast.
Before we go into this episode of the Everblack Podcast, we just need to give a shout out to our show supporters, the occult clothing brand Electric Witch, who have amazing apparel from shirts to hoodies to hats to beanies, dresses and more. Check out their full range at electricwitch.com.au and put in the code Everblack for 20% off your order. Also, don't forget to subscribe, rate and review the Everblack Podcast on Spotify and iTunes podcast streams, and see all our video interviews on the Everblack YouTube channel. You can also read all our articles and reviews at everblack.com.au. All right, on with the show. Awesome, man. How's everything going?
I mean, I guess pretty good. On all things considered, the world's kind of in a weird place right now. So
It is, yes.
I feel weird saying like, I'm great, but I'm doing kind of good. So
Yeah, we're doing all right down here too, man. I know it's hard for some people, which kind of sucks, but I'm glad you're doing all right, man. It's actually been a little while since we've spoken, so it's good to actually have you back on the show, brother. So, man, yeah, absolutely. So I'm making sure this is working. Yeah, cool. All right, well, man, of course, the new Periphery album live in London that just came out, and it sounds incredible, dude. This thing is amazing, and that was from the Hell Stand tour. Was that was the last of the European shows? Was it?
yeah, it was the last show on the European run last year, and it was we didn't know we were doing a live album. We just recorded the show. We're like, oh, that sounds good. Let's use that. But yeah, it was. Who knew that it would probably be one of the last times we'd be in Europe for a very long time. So.
No one, man, it just happened so quickly. Hey, because you were playing shows right up through this year, weren't you? You played like
I mean, it was a pandemic when we were like finishing up our US run. Like we were still like kind of like talking about it, and like we were like, oh man, I hope this doesn't get any worse. And we were all like, oh, it's probably not going to get any worse. Like this shit happens, and then the entire world has changed forever because of it. So didn't see that one coming, but I guess we were about due for one anyways, you know.
Well, I had mates that were over there in the States who literally played one show and had to haul us back home.
I'm really sorry to hear that. You know, I think about, you know, guys like that and other bands and stuff that are, you know, they just get over there to start a tour, and then, you know, I'm sure you're aware of like how much overhead and upfront cost there is to just get out there. Like you're just out that money, and it's just like you have to, not only do you not get to do the tour, which you're relying on that, then you're also like, you know, going into to debt because of it. So it's a pretty tough situation. So I'm sorry to hear that your buddies went through that.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, thanks, man. Well, I think they're doing all right now, though. They're getting back to it, which is awesome. And I haven't seen any footage from this live in London gig. I don't know if it was actually filmed, but it looked nuts. I saw the photo. There's one shot where it just shows the crowd, and it looked massive. And
yeah, it was the biggest. It was the biggest show we've played in our career, besides like a festival, which. So like, yeah, it's our biggest headlining show. So that was intense for us too. And, you know, I think the funniest thing about it is that if somebody like told me like, all right, by the way, we're doing a multi-track recording, we're going to make this into a live album, don't mess up, I would have been like a ball of nerves. But because I didn't think that was happening, I was just like totally comfortable, just another show. You know, and the more energy that's there, the more fun that I have. So like, it just kind of, it translated really well. Like, I think that's the trick, you know, because a lot of band guys are like me, where they're like, they don't feel particularly comfortable if like somebody's recording the show, because you know you're gonna have to listen to it later, and you'd be like, oh my God, I shouldn't have drank so much beer that night. But yeah, just don't, if you're a sound guy, don't tell your band you're recording them, and then they won't be all nervous and mess up. So
that's the trick. That's the trick.
Yeah. Trick. Yeah.
That's it. Well, I mean, there's one part in the during Loon when you've got the whole crowd just chanting. Man, I got goosebumps. I've listened to that a few times, and that's just, man. Is that happening all over wherever you tour with that when you play that, or is that just one in particular?
Loon, we didn't intend for it to be like a sing-along part, but it just like kind of happened one day, and then it kind of became like the thing that we love to close with because we know that people will sing along like that.
Yeah.
And that's always like just such a highlight of the night for all of us, because the thing that's nice about Loon is that it's not like it's not a very demanding song in terms of musicianship. I still mess it up. There's like this great like messed up note at the end too that I did. I was like, they were like, we could edit that out if you want. I'm like, no, leave it there. It's so awful that I love it. But just like knowing that when we start playing that song, that's like, the night is done and we did a good job, and like it's, we could just like relax and enjoy this one because it's not all like techie and progged out. So that's definitely a highlight of the night every night when we get to play that. People are singing along, Spencer's crowd surfing, other people are crowd surfing. It's sometimes, well, depending on the venue and how comfortable we're feeling, like I'll jump in to the pit or like go up against the crowd and like, I'll let them like strum the guitar as I like fret the notes on the so it's just a fun part of the set because we can kind of just let our hair down a little bit.
Have you ever had someone try and swipe the guitar when you've jumped into a pit?
Yeah. I mean, that's why I don't do it so much, because I kind of like gauge like how respectful are these young ones?
Yeah.
Are they gonna like unplug my guitar, turn my volume down, or try to mess with my tuning or whatever? But most people are very respectful, and it's a lot of fun to do that when you can get away with it. I think there's like when you play certain venues, there's the energy, there can be a disconnect between the size of the pit, the photo pit, and where the barrier is, and like how far away people are. So I tend to like the ones where it's kind of like that middle ground where the stage isn't too high. It's high enough to look cool, but it's also not high enough to like, if I wanted to jump down and kind of get close to everyone, then that's not, then that's fun. I like that. But whatever. It's fun either way.
Yeah, don't try and steal guitars off musicians. You hear that?
No. I can't believe it still happens.
It's a dick move. Don't do that. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because like with the internet and how easy it is to track things now, and it's just like I'll always read about somebody who gets their stuff stolen and then like, months later is able to retrieve it like at a pawn shop somewhere, and it's just like they sold it for like some stupid amount of money, like $50 or something, it's like, why is that worth it? But yeah, people are going to steal, I guess.
Yeah, no. But hey, it was recorded on November 15th last year. Just occurred to me that was only, it's been released 13th. Hey, yeah, that's like, was that intentional?
No. So our sound guy on that tour, Ronnie, he had it like ready to go like many months earlier, but he had a hard drive failure and he had to recover the information in order to rebuild the sets that he was mixing. So the only reason it came out almost a year after is just because he had to get that fixed, and he didn't even tell us that he had these recordings until after he got it fixed. So that way we weren't like expecting it. And then, so it was more of like a surprise from him. And then, when you're doing a record, you want to give it some time to kind of like, make sure that all the labels and people have it. And then, you can advertise it a little bit, get a single out, get some pre-orders going. So like, it's just, it just happened to be that way. It was not intentional.
And of course, you open with Reptile, which is a massive 16-minute epic on itself. Yeah. But then you've got, I believe, Plini and Mikee Goodman jumps on. Were they actually there, or was that just the sample?
Yeah. So Plini and Jakub Zytecki would come out and do the solo because they were on tour with us with
Yeah.
Plini's band, and Mark had gone home on that tour, and then Mikey lives in London, so we were just like, we might as well just have everyone just come on stage if they want to do it, and they did, and it was so much fun. It was just so much fun to have those guys up there, and starting a set with a 16-minute song. Like at first I thought it was going to be like a weird thing to do, because usually I'd like want to get warmed up to go into something like that, but that's the warm up. Like that song is like the perfect warm up, because it's like there are parts of it that are sort of hard, but it's not that hard of a song. It's just memorizing all of the parts. Not having to play it isn't that bad. But yeah, that was a blast having those guys there.
I bet people just seeing everyone's faces when they walked out too would have just been like, what?
Yeah. There was one day because we had in Europe we had Plini and Jakub, and then in the US we had Plini and Jake.
Yeah.
And they would come out and do solos. But one day we just had Chris, Plini's drummer, come out with a guitar on. He doesn't play guitar at all, and like. And Plini and Jake were like playing the solo off stage while Chris was just like pretending to play it. And like he had his shirt off, and he had like I think he had a bandana on or something. He just looked like so ridiculous. But that was a fun night. I think that was in Fort Lauderdale, if I remember correctly, but I don't remember.
That's awesome. I another part of it that I really love is Spencer's little running with the devil tribute at the end of Blood Eagle.
Which part is that? At
the end of Blood Eagle, there's he throws in a little David Lee Roth.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And that gave me a good chuckle. I loved it.
Yeah.
But
I like it when he does that stuff.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the thing about you guys as well. You've got a good sense of humor. You've got that balance between the serious stuff, but there's still a lot of tongue in cheek and humor in what you do. And I guess with everything that's happened this year, has that been how you guys have supported yourselves and stayed in touch and kept your spirits up?
Yeah. I mean, we're all just like, I think like if you were to ask anybody in the band, like, what's your favorite part about being in Periphery? Everyone would say like just being able to hang out with the guys, because it's just like, it's usually always just joke after joke. Like we're just always trying to make each other laugh. And that hasn't stopped because we haven't been on tour with each other. We have like several group chats where we're just always like throwing in like funny pictures or just like making fun of each other, or like, and it's all like really fun. And, I really miss those guys because of that. I mean, I miss playing the music too. Yeah. But my favorite part is just like hanging out with my friends. And those guys are definitely my best friends.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. I mean, another thing that I did see was on your Instagram. This is something I wanted to bring up because I watched the video like 30,000 times. Is you're playing Grand Theft Horse, Red Dead.
Yeah.
Grand Theft Horse. And you'd throw the dude off the waterfall.
That was my tour promo.
I know. It's the greatest thing I've seen. I've watched it so many times.
I can't take full credit for that. It's not an entirely original idea because me, Mark, and Misha, like months earlier on a different tour, we did another tour promo where like we threw a guy on some train tracks, and then the train came by and all you heard was like and there was no caption. The only thing that was there was like the tour dates. So
crazy. Keep that stuff up. Keep that stuff up.
Yeah, definitely. I remember just as like a little quick side story, when we were doing the documentary, I think for Juggernaut, I was being interviewed by Jeff, our light guy and filmographer. He's the guy that like does all of our documentaries, but he was interviewing me while I was playing Grand Theft Auto 5. And it was deliberate because he was going to be like cutting in between me talking and shots of me just doing absolutely horrific stuff in the game. And when we sent it to one of our label partners, they were like, we can't put this on our YouTube channel. Like this has like, it has copyrighted material, it has gratuitous violence. Like, I'm like, why not? It's like, it's Grand Theft Auto. Everyone knows what that is. So we had to like pull out like certain, like we had to like totally like surgically fix that part of the documentary, because I think it's in there now because we're not beholden to those rules anymore. But but yeah,
people stream that stuff all the time, you know.
Yeah, video games, we're all desensitized to it. I mean, no one cares anymore.
Yeah, no one cares about ultra violence.
Yeah,
but are you guys working on new material?
Yeah, we are. We haven't gotten into the full swing of anything yet. We're currently doing like Zoom calls, like where we just kind of talk about what existing demos we want to take a look at, or we talk about certain styles we may want to do, or we even show each other things that we've been working on our own. So it's definitely an active project. It's just we haven't gotten to the writing phase yet, but I think that's going to be coming up really soon. So I'm excited. I really am, because it's I think we're all going nuts from this whole coronavirus thing that we want to we need to do a new album.
Oh, I'm so keen, man. I'm so keen.
Cool.
And of course, tours are just starting to get announced now, very, very slowly. And I'm hoping that we see you guys back down here. I've seen you guys a few times, and it's always it's a good time. So has there been, is that on the bucket list to come back?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I mean, Australia is like one of our greatest destinations for us. Like I did a clinic tour there last year, I think it was. And the entire time in my mind, I'm just like, this is great. Like, I get to come to Australia twice, in a really short period of time. And then, wouldn't you know, like a pandemic happens. But once these vaccines start hitting, and hopefully we can get this thing under control. Hopefully we have an administration that like doesn't deny the fact that this is a huge problem. Then we can start fixing, what's going on, and start traveling again, because that's, I miss that a lot.
Yeah, you would, because I mean, you've been everywhere, dude. I guess.
Yeah,
where haven't you been? Where's one place that you haven't been that's on your bucket list?
I guess like we've been to almost every continent. I mean, but like we've never played Ireland. I'd like to play Ireland.
Wow.
We've never played Greece. I'd like to play Greece. Israel, Turkey, just like the really hard to get to places, just geographically. I'd like to check those places out. But other than that, we've hit a large part of the globe, and so it's hard to say. I mean, there's definitely places I want to go back. Like, we need to go back to Australia. I'd like to go back to New Zealand, even though they wouldn't let me in the last time I tried to go there.
Why? What did you do?
Well, I didn't do anything. I showed up, and I was about to get on my plane, and they were like, they had me call immigration from the gate, and I was like, this is the weirdest thing. And so I get on the phone, and they're like, don't get on the plane, you're not allowed to come here, you don't have valid credentials. And I'm like, I was invited to come here by like a music store, like, to come do a clinic. And they were like, we don't have any record of that. So I actually ended up getting into an argument with them. I'm like, why? Like, I wouldn't like try to sneak into your country. I'm not, I'm a professional musician. I'm not some like, transient. But anyways, I didn't end up being able to go to New Zealand. And so luckily, we were able to do kind of like, when I did my Sydney date, we were able to do a live stream
that's
for
cool.
the New Zealand crowd. And I got like an extra 5 days in Sydney, which is fine with me. But yeah, as far as places to go, I don't know. I mean, we've hit so many places. I guess I just want to return back to the places that have treated us really well. It's like, it's about time.
And it's definitely about time that you come back to Australia when this all calms down, man. We can't wait to see you and maybe record a live album down here. Yeah. Hey, man, just come play at my house. I've got a backyard.
Where are you from?
I'm on the Gold Coast.
Oh, okay. Pretty out there.
It's not bad. Bit hot and stinky at the moment, but hey, man. Or more, have some beers and stuff. But dude, it's been an absolute pleasure having you back on the show and catching up and seeing you this time, which is cool.
Yeah.
Technology.
This new thing's pretty cool.
It's awesome. I'm loving it. And the Live in London album is out now everywhere. And I'll have the links down here, as I always say. Jake, take care of yourself, brother. And we will see you soon, I hope.
Awesome. Thank you, Nev.